Despite President Donald Trump sounding off on China, he's kind of stuck with them. While the US and China may have different values and styles of governance, they actually have a lot of common interests. So here are 3 reasons why Trump isn't going to break up with China, even though he kind of said he would. Let's start with the biggest, most obvious reason, the economy. The US and China are incredibly interdependent, importing 1/5 of what the other exports. From China, we're talking machinery, furniture, toys, your new iPhone. And from the US to China, goods include food, airplanes, and cars, and raw materials. In 2015, US exports to China totaled $113 billion. But it's not just stuff that you or I might buy. Chinese banks have invested in US debt, and they are the single largest owner of it. In the words of the Chinese president, if we are in confrontation, it will surely spell disaster for both countries and the wider world. Which brings us to reason number 2, military cooperation. There's that thing about the world's 2 biggest economies having the 2 biggest armies, and it's critical that these 2 nuclear nations keep the peace. During President Barack Obama's administration, the 2 collaborated to contain North Korea and work to hash out cybersecurity goals. Obama's approach to China was delicate, like a partner he needed but didn't fully trust. Trump's approach is actually quite the opposite. He appointed economist Peter Navarro to lead the new National Trade Council, who's a harsh critic of trade with the country. And he's also the author of this book. And as with any frenemy, there's gonna be drama. Specifically in the South China Sea, where tensions have been heating up. It's one of the world's most crucial waterways, and there are an estimated 11 billion barrels of oil under the sea. Oh, and all 6 countries in the region claim it. So when Beijing called dibs and sent in their military, the US started patrolling the waters to be like, hey, slow down. So we got trillions of dollars, militaries, future oil reserves, and egos. Really big egos. And reason number 3 that the United States and China aren't breaking up? The US isn't so lonely at the top anymore. China and Russia have stepped in where American influence has weakened. Because frankly, imposing democracy and global South policing can get kind of expensive. And the US can't afford to break up with a country that's taken an active role in its own backyard, Latin America. It's worth noting Russia and China are taking the lead with their global development goals, Russia in the Middle East and China in Africa and Latin America. While the 2 aren't exactly the best of friends, they have been collaborating since the end of the Cold War. China is Russia's largest trading partner, and the countries collaborate on extensive projects like a pipeline to bring Russian gas to the communist state. If Trump turns his back on China, that means putting the United States up against both Russia and China and threatening the country's economic stability. Meaning it's in US global and economic interest to keep engaged with China. Because when the new global order shakes out, the US doesn't want to be on the sidelines. So don't expect Chinese-American relations to disappear anytime soon.